Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. I'm coming together with a few friends today to bring you some holiday cheer. Our hop starts today, Saturday, November 28th, 2020, and goes through Friday, December 4th. This gives you plenty of time to watch and comment on all of our videos. The giveaways will be announced by December 10th on each individual channel, and a list of all the winners will be over at tailormadecardsforyou.com blog. At the top of my description box, you'll find a link to the next person in the hop, and please pay close attention as some of us will be giving away a prize on our channel, and we will each have our own rules for entering. For more information and a complete list of all the videos, head on over to Monica's blog over at Tailor Made Cards for You. For my cards, I'm going to be making one of these really cute, I'm sorry, I love cats, so of course I think it's cute. This cute kitty tree card. This is one of my favorite stamp sets for this time of year. It's from Stampendous and it's the cat tree, and I made a bunch of these, which means I got a lot of practice in doing a lot of coloring and ink blending and such. I am not going to put you guys through all of that. I'm only going to show you how I made one, but this was really fun and I hope you're inspired by this video. So let's go ahead and get started. I stamped the cat tree onto some Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock in Tuxedo Memento Black ink. Now this is a cling stamp, so I made sure that I'm using my Tim Holtz platform with the rubber side up. You can flip the lid to make sure that you're using either rubber or clear stamps. Then I'm going to go ahead and mask off the kitties. Now on the first card, I'd cut everything out, fussy cut it out on some Post-it notes, and then I thought, I want to make a bunch of these, so I went ahead and created a mask using my scan and cut and that image. Now it did take a little bit of time. One thing I did need to do is when I stamped out the image for it to scan, I had to draw a line around the entire image in order to get that done. If you guys want to see more about how I am able to make a mask using my scan and cut, just let me know down in the comments and I will dedicate a video to doing that specific technique. It's not really that hard and it comes in so useful. So I'm going ahead and blending some colors onto that panel. I'm wanting something bright, a brighter, lighter color around the tree itself. So for that I used Fossilized Amber, and then I went in with some crackling campfire around the edges because I wanted kind of a darker red tone around that. Each of the panels I did a little differently, just playing around with the colors, using some distress oxides, and I think they turned out pretty good. I'm now using some spiced marmalade to kind of blend the two together, and then I went back in with that Fossilized Amber. Now looking at this, it kinda to me looks like it's all orange, so I decided to bring in a darker color for the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and use Fired Brick at this point. So I'm bringing some of that in on the edge, and it is looking better. It is kind of giving that vignette look, and I do like that. However, I decided that it wasn't quite dark enough, so in a moment I'm going to bring in some Candied Apple Distress Oxide ink and darken it up even more. Now, what I'm basically doing is just layering colors until I get a look that I like. So I'm going in with the Candied Apple. And then I'm going to clean off my red brush, my blending brush that I use for the reds. I'm going to blend in some of the lighter colors and each time go ahead and clean that off on a microfiber cloth. Now that I've got all of the red and the orange in there, I'm going to go back in with that yellow from Fossilized Amber and blend that in again as well. It does lighten it up quite a bit in the center, and I wound up being a little bit brighter than I wanted. So I'm going back in again with the spiced marmalade, the orange color, and blending that all together. Then I decided I am going to start playing with a splat box. Now I don't really use this that much. I haven't had a dedicated box for that until now. And I am going ahead and putting in some water using a distress sprayer, and then I'm taking out some of my DIY shimmer sprays that I made. These are each using just one of the little mini mister bottles that you can get from Ranger, and I'm using water and some Perfect Pearls. So I'm using the Perfect Gold, and I also use some Forever Red. Then I'm going in and I'm heating this up to kind of try to dry it, and then I realize that might not be such a good idea. The mask that I'm using here is contact paper, so it's made out of plastic, which means that if you heat it up too much, it's going to melt. So I am going to realize that and go ahead and get that taken off before I finish cleaning up, before I finish drying this panel. And lucky for me, that did not rip. That's one of the things I was a little concerned about when I was using the contact paper and then starting to heat it up by mistake. Is that if you heat it up too much and it starts to melt and it rips, you're not going to be able to use it again, and you have to start all over again, which kind of defeats the purpose of using a contact paper mask. So now that all of those panels are all done, I'm going to go ahead and color up those little kitties. For the leaves and for the hats on this one, since it's got a bright, vibrant color on the background, I decided I wanted to do the hats on this one in green. So I'm using AG4 for the darkest shade, and then AG2 to just kind of blend that out, and then I just go back in with the AG4 to add a little bit more depth. I'm going to use that on all of the kitties' hats and all of those little bits of holly throughout the card. Then I'm using DR4 for all of the little berries that are throughout the card as well. I decided that I didn't really like the white gap that's around different places, and this is just from the mask, so I'm going in and pulling out some of my markers and trying to get as close of a match as I can to those pieces, and then I'm going to go ahead and color all of those in. As an afterthought, I think it probably would have been easier for me to just use the inks that I did the blending with and a blender pen, and that would have worked and matched probably a lot better than this. Regardless, it did turn out pretty cool. And then I went in and I colored all of the little kitties' eyes green. Now, you probably guessed it, I am using my Spectrum Noir markers, so for those eyes I used AG2. And now I'm going to go ahead and color the kitties themselves. Now on this one, I am going to color them white, which means they're already white. I'm going in with some gray markers. This is the GG1 that I'm using right now to put down a little, I guess just a little bit of color where I want some of the shading to be. And then I'm coming back in with GG2, the next darker color, and bringing that color just a little bit further in. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend that out as well with that GG1. I decided that I wanted just a little more depth, so I'm bringing the GG2 back in and just adding a little bit more definition there. That's one of the neat things, especially when you're using some of the light colors. You can layer them on there and bring out the color as much or as little as you want. So I'm going to go in and color all of the little kitties in basically the same fashion, starting off with the GG1 for that initial, basically just to saturate some of the paper with that lightest color in all of the areas that I'm going to be adding some shadow. And for these guys, it's real simple coloring. I am just doing it basically around the edges so that their faces look a little bit round, and then of course underneath their hats and then their ears as well. So I'm finishing up on the last kitty here. It's same technique with the GG1 to start, and then adding some extra definition and shading in with the GG2, and I think these guys turned out really cute. Now for their noses and inside their ears, I did use one of my CR markers. I believe that was CR4. I would say just use a scratch piece of paper and see what color works best for you for that. For the sentiment, I decided to do a little bit of foiling, so I got out my Gemini foil press, and I did have a little trouble with it. This is a Couture Creations Season's Greetings stamp, and it's basically a foil and cut. However, I must have been doing something wrong because I know that it was not working to do that. You can see that piece there that foiled some, but it is not wanting to work with both the foil and the cutting blade at the same time. So I took it apart and I'm doing them separately. I'm using some foil from Spellbinders for this one and just putting that one on there. I'm still experimenting with all of the settings, so I don't have anything specific as to how long to leave it on for or what kind of heat. I believe I had it on medium for about 15 seconds. May have been longer though. I do know that the longer I was using this machine, the more warped that heat plate got, and it was not wanting to work well. So for this one though, it did turn out well. You do want to let it cool just a little bit before you pull that foil off, and look, it just came out absolutely perfect this time around. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the die that came with that foil plate over around that sentiment and go ahead and run that through my Gemini Junior, just regular die cutting. And this little sentiment came out perfect. Now I think I'm going to do a lot more of these. My problem is I sit down and do a bunch all at once, which means that I have a feeling that hot plate, that platform that goes through the machine probably was getting too hot and too warped because of that. It's flattened out now, and it does take a little time to get that done. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut down my panel. What I want to do is add some pattern paper as a mat on there, and this is from a paper pack I got from Recollections. I believe it was 2 years ago that I hadn't used up yet. It's no longer available, unfortunately, but I thought those little paw prints in foil was too cute. So I'm going ahead and cutting down this little panel. It's going to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap around my card panel. Decided that was actually not enough of the paw prints showing, so I'm going to cut it down even more. So the long side is going to be at 4 3/4, and then the short side is going to be at 3 1/2. So the actual colored panel, all that ink blending I did on that, I'm cutting basically all of it back. And then I go ahead and put that on there. Now you notice this is a different panel than what I did before. I recorded all of it, and I had to try to cut it down as much as I could for you guys because this is already a little bit of a long video. And I made 10 of these cards. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those. So first I'm going to go ahead and put down that pattern paper panel using a dot liner, and then I'm going to pop up my main panel that I've been working so hard on with some Arteza foam tape. And as usual, I've been using the little handles and doing the corner piece that's not that doesn't show the adhesive to be able to line it up a bit better, and this one came out just perfect. Next I'm going to go ahead and put that sentiment on, and with this one I'm also going to be using that Arteza foam tape. I like that little extra bit of dimension. It may need a little extra postage to go through the mail, but I think it just really makes everything pop. And this panel that you look, I also did a little bit more splatter on that one with some of that gold. So I really love the way all of these ink blended panels turned out, and I'm going to be doing that technique quite a bit more. So I'll go ahead and place the sentiment on there. I don't really like the idea of covering up those cute kitties, but you know, you do need a little bit of space to be able to put your sentiment. And that finishes up this card for today. thank you so much for joining us for the Christmas video hop. I encourage you to visit all the other crafters in the hop because I know they will have a lot of inspirational projects for you to see. And I would love to see what you create, so come join my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and show us your creations. I've left a link in the description box below. And if you create anything using one of my Christmas crafting videos for inspiration, please be sure to post a picture on social media and tag me at hashtag Debbie J's Crafting Corner and at hashtag DJCC Christmas 2020. You can also see all of my Christmas crafting videos for 2020 by clicking on hashtag DJCC Christmas 2020 down in the video title. Here are some other videos that you may be interested in. Thank you so much for dropping by, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.